So I would like to start off by saying rest in peace, Bill Russell. He passed away today at age 88 peacefully. One of, if not the greatest sports winners in history. What do you guys have to say about that?
Uh, Rest in peace. I'm just happy he went out peacefully.
Yeah,
It's tough when like someone like Bill Russell goes out because he's not Kobe,
no,
but he was very entertaining through retirement, I would say. And it's just tough to see him go right now. Oh, you, Jeff.
So yeah, for me at least, Bill Russell was one of the founding fathers of basketball, right? Coming, like the names in mind: Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Julius Irving, Big O, um, and also Kareem. Those are the five guys I believe that are like the founding fathers of basketball and what changed it to Drive, Magic, Bird, Michael, now going into LeBron, D Wade, those guys, right? And then into the younger generation and Luca and Giannis. So yeah, it all founded on Bill Russell and those guys, right? Losing some of those great names now, it all means that like, what did they leave behind, right? And it's their legacy. And for me, Bill Russell is one of those names that will live on forever, just because of who he was, what he meant to the game, and what he did when he was playing the game. It was more than a game to him, right? It was what he was gonna leave on afterwards, and the perspective that he wanted to show, while playing the game of basketball. And obviously, we've seen him talk in retirement because we never got to see him play. But right now, we got like the generation now got to see him talk while he was retired, especially about basketball. And he wasn't afraid to talk on, challenging topics, right? So just the legacy he left behind, and it's going to live on forever.
yeah, I agree. I would like to end off by saying he was a better person than he was a player, and that says
Right.
something. His legacy on the court was great, but I would say his legacy off the court was even greater.
Like, no.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace. Even as a Laker fan, you got to respect him because he just did so much for the game.
For sure. Plus, he's got half of their championships as well. So for the Celtics.
Yeah, he got 11 of them things.
Right.
5 MVPs too.
Yeah, bro, he was insane. I would say he doesn't get the respect he deserves, honestly.
No, he
But
won 11 rings in what, like
13
13
years,
years,
yeah.
too? Something like that.
And he made the finals in those 2 years too. He just lost.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, rest in peace to him. Like Saya said, I am glad he went peacefully, and it was a peaceful death instead of like a Kobe Bryant situation, but still hard to grasp right now.
Hey, 88 years old, lived a great life, long life. So
Right,
congrats to him.
exactly. I just like to keep his family and friends in my prayers. But sticking with the Celtics, it was reported about a week ago that they could trade Jaylen Brown, a package around Jaylen Brown, I would say, for Kevin Durant. I personally think they'd be making a mistake. We touched on it before. We all think the same thing, but what do you guys have to say about that situation?
So you want me
Yeah,
to start and then all right. So
Go
for
ahead,
me,
Joel.
right?
Yeah.
They went to the finals. They
Yeah,
have a great team as it is. If you change up that chemistry, you're gonna have to rebuild that chemistry with Kevin Durant. It's gonna be a process, right? As Joel Embiid likes to call it, like just trust in the process. It's gonna be a long process for them to, gel together, especially if you move that many pieces to get one person, right?
right.
And you don't really know how he's gonna fit well with Jason Tatum. That's the thing. You know exactly what Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and a couple of those other pieces do for that Celtics organization and how they gel together. So for me, it's a loss if they do get Kevin Durant, but also you never know, and you're gonna be, risking it because you are getting Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah,
Probably the best player in the league when healthy, second best player depending on who you got, right? So It's a gamble, and we'll see what happens.
For me, I'm not gonna try to say the same things I said last time about the Kevin Durant thing. If you guys want to hear that, you gotta go to the other pod. Um, but with the Kevin Durant situation, like Gio was saying, the chemistry would be completely off. Um, like I could see the appeal of it though, where the Celtics in that finals just needed a score, someone that could score the ball, because Jason Tatum was struggling. But with that, if you put KD on that team, I don't know if he's going to be as selfless as the other guys
Right.
to the point where they might not get that far. So I think keeping what they have now, they know what they have, what they could be, and they know their guys are going to play their roles rather than a wild card in Kevin Durant. I could just know he is the second best player in the league when he's healthy. But it's not like with the Warriors, he was number 2. Kind of. But that was also with Stephen Curry. One of the best point guards of all time, one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. With this Boston Celtics team, KD comes in and he is the guy rather than Jason Tatum, which is a big difference maker to me.
I agree because he's shown that he can't win when he's the guy. OKC and then with Brooklyn. And I just don't think that Tatum and Kevin Durant would be a good fit personally. They will, like I touched on in the previous pod, they both need the ball in their hands to be successful, I feel like. And not only would they be getting Kevin Durant, yeah, that'd be a great duo on paper, but I don't think it would fit well. And they would be giving up their entire future, I feel like, for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant. How many more years does he have? Who knows? But I'm not willing to do that because they also have to go with like 4 first-round picks probably, plus their half their bench at least. And I'm not willing to do that because even if you have Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum, if you have no bench, it's hard to be successful. And you also have no picks in the next couple of years to get a bench. So that'd be hard for me personally.
They won
So-
that mind. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gio.
I had like a side question, but you guys already answered it for me. You guys said that Kevin Durant was going to be the guy on the Celtics because I wanted to know who you guys thought was going to be that leader, right, on the Celtics. And obviously, you guys answered that. But for me, it's Jason Tatum because it's the same scenario with Steph Curry. He has the heart, right? And like he's got all the fans be backing him. Whereas I think it's the same scenario with Jason Tatum, where he's been there, he's been through the ups and downs with that organization. And he would be that sole face of the Celtics. That's my opinion. I feel like KD would ride behind him, although he would be the best player on that team. Just like being on the Warriors, I feel like Jason Tatum would be that leader.
I'd have to agree to disagree on that. Just in KD's mind. I also believe that KD would go to Boston with something to prove, which is just the reason I don't see it being Tatum mainly. But
okay,
yeah.
But
I just don't think Kevin Durant would take a backseat to a youngin personally.
did you believe that Kevin Durant was the best player on the Warriors? Was he the best player? To me, it's hands down. Kevin Durant was the best player on that team.
I would say
disagree.
I would say they could win
Who
without
disagree?
Kevin. Yeah, they could win without Kevin. He was not the best player. They won without Kevin. They didn't need Kevin.
But you are saying he was not the best player on that team.
I would personally, I have Steph Curry.
Okay.
Personally, I don't think he was the best player on that Warriors team.
Who do you think was? I'm just curious.
Draymond Green.
Because of his defense?
No, complete offensive ability. 3-point shooting. So no, Stephen Curry was the best player on that team, I think. I think overall wise he was, and like team player wise. But I think if it was a 1v1 tournament between the whole team, Kevin Durant's the best.
Yeah. But like I personally the reason I say Kevin Durant's not is because they won like without him before he came. So I don't think they needed him. and after, exactly. So I don't think they needed him, and I just don't think he was the best. I think Steph was really the best in my opinion.
Okay, got it.
I'm not trying to hate on KD. Obviously, he was great, but I would give him the second best player.
Okay.
And with that, even though you say hands down KD was better than Steph, it's still closer than it would be with Tatum
Right.
and KD, right?
I agree.
Well, here's the thing. I'm saying whoever the best player was, right, is not usually like sometimes they don't have to drive the bus, as Charles Barkley would say. Steph Curry was driving that Warriors bus, but KD was the best player, right? For me, I'm saying the Celtics, Jason Tatum is driving the bus. Kevin Durant's the best player. I don't think Kevin Durant will be driving that bus. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
I agree with that
That's
too.
all the point I was trying to make.
I agree.
But,
Go ahead.
sorry,
No, go
I
ahead.
agree with that, but at the same time, I don't see Stephen Curry letting Kevin Durant letting Tatum drive the bus with as much freedom as Stephen Curry did.
I agree with that.
Right, but I just don't think that Kevin Durant can drive the bus, right? Because we've seen him be, like you guys said, he was the number one player in Oklahoma City. He was the number one player in Brooklyn, right? And he obviously didn't show up. For me, it's just that where Jason Tatum took the Celtics to the finals. He drove that bus all the way there. He was gassed just like Jimmy Butler was in 2020, in my opinion. But it is a throw up. I guess you can throw the keys to Kevin Durant if you really want to hit a curb or something. But like,
I don't know. Either way, no matter who's driving the bus, I just don't see him making it. I could see him making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't see him making it to the finals.
well, who would you have beating that team though?
I think they would get beat, not because of Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum, but like I said, because of the lack of a bench.
Right. And what? Sorry, go ahead.
I think Miami beats that team with Kevin Durant.
I could see Miami beating that team, honestly.
Miami only lost to the Celtics because they had depth to match Miami,
Exactly.
and they had better players.
Right. And also, injury did play a hand in Miami, but
we don't like to use excuses.
Right. But still, there was games where Tyler Hero, Bam,
Yeah.
Jimmy, those guys, right? Yeah, I can see that, right? But it's just hard because you got Jason Tatum and you got Kevin Durant on the same team. They really are 1A and 1B, in my opinion.
But I also feel like they'd be losing defensive impact by trading the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart. And then I feel like they'd also have to throw in Robert Williams as well.
Right. That was my question. What did they offer? What did the Celtics offer again? It was Jaylen Brown.
I think it was like Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, and then like 3 first-round picks or something like that.
That would be tough, right? Because you are losing the defensive player of the year. But I also feel like your bench, right? You're
Exactly.
keeping the same bench though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other than Robert Williams, Robert was a starter, right?
When healthy.
Right. And then Marcus Smart, starter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like you are losing 2 key players in that regard, but I feel like adding Kevin Durant, you are adding a tremendous like offensive ability, right?
Yeah, but like it's just that for me it's a bad fit. That's the one reason I'm doubting it because I don't like the fit between him and Tatum.
But do you think they will be missing shots?
We've
Kevin
seen
Durant and Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum, right? Those 2 guys make shots over anybody.
Yeah, but we've also seen them have bad games and they cost their teams.
Right, but what's the possibility of them either scoring high or costing their team a game? That's my opinion. I think they're going to be scoring more often than they are missing. That's my take.
I just feel like honestly, I feel like one of them would get mad because they wouldn't be getting enough touches. That's my opinion.
Another thing is though, they lack a big man.
Right.
Like
I mean, they still have Al Horford, but like he's slow.
Al Horford's good with Time Lord, I would say,
Yeah,
Right.
but it's Grant Williams, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't like him sliding in a Time Lord slot
no, because he's
only
not even
because
close to the defensive impact of Robert Williams.
no, and he's an undersized big like Bam is, but he's even shorter than Bam
Right.
Right.
with less impact. And Time Lord was like a big factor to them making that second half of the season push. Plus, he was a big factor in the playoffs. So
Yeah, they could have won with him healthy, I would say.
go with that.
What's up? Did you? Yeah, you froze.
So
What'd you say?
Marcus Smart included in that too.
Oh,
I don't like
yeah,
that either.
yeah, no, because you're giving up both of your defensive anchors. You have to keep one, I would say.
Honestly,
But I just feel like Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, like Gio said, the chemistry's too good right now. They just made a finals run. They're eager for more. Why break it up?
Right. And do you see the workouts he's doing in the offseason?
Who? Jalen Brown?
Jalen Brown is going to be the bounciest he has ever been. I
And
guarantee it.
and even if they do trade him, he's gonna be mad. And I don't blame him for being mad.
Well, it doesn't. I'm just saying when this year, I'm guessing will be Jalen Brown's best year by far since
Yeah,
starting.
I just don't like it for the Celtics personally, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
they're all so young too, except for like
Exactly.
Marcus Smart.
That's another thing. You're trading for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant. I mean, yeah, he's still got a bunch left in the tank, but you just gave away your whole future after Kevin Durant.
There would be so much more pressure on them too. It would
Right.
have to be win now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just wasted all of that.
And we don't know how Tatum would respond to that pressure either.
No.
Any last thoughts, Gio?
Yeah. Sucks to be Kevin Durant right now. I don't think he's gonna get traded
Yeah,
as of yet.
I don't think him or
That's
Kyrie are close, personally.
right. So, especially when Kyrie said that he doesn't care if Kevin Durant's on the team or not, he still wants to play for Brooklyn. But for me, man, it's you got the Celtics right now, who are the young version of the Warriors, right? Then you got Kevin Durant, who wants to shake up the entire league, like with Phoenix, with Miami, with Celtics, with someplace. Then you got Donovan Mitchell trying to get out of Utah. It's a busy offseason.
It is. I still think that they're having trade talks with like centered around Kyrie and Kevin Durant, but it's going to be a while before something happens, I would say,
Right,
for either of those.
for sure.
But
Bring Spider to Miami. As long as we keep tie.
honestly, it seems like Spite is happy. I honestly think he might stay.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. You know?
We'll see what happens. There's still time.
But
Um,
yeah.
yeah, moving on to the NFL. There's some big news. There's a potential suspension announcement for Deshaun Watson sometime tomorrow. The long-awaited suspension announcement. What do you guys think he's going to end up getting?
I'm guessing 6 games, if not a little bit longer.
I I honestly think he's going to get a year. Personally,
I think he's gonna get a year.
I think so.
Well, how much did Tyreek get?
I don't
Or
know.
when he got suspended?
I think he got about 6, if
He
I
got
remember.
6 games, right?
But like for me, I say a year because of the extent of this. Like 30 women coming out, that's crazy.
Right. I
It was
could
only-
understand that.
It was
What's
only
up?
9 more since last season, right?
Yeah, but like 20 of them came out at the same time, and then 9 sporadically.
I'm thinking only 4 games at this point.
Really?
The
Well,
only
Fred,
reason. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
I would have to agree with you on that, just because like why wouldn't they do something when those 20 women came out? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't they put
Well,
disciplinary actions when you had all these women coming out saying that?
it's because
That's just
they
my
want.
opinion.
For me, I think it's because the NFL wanted to thoroughly investigate. Like they've been investigating this for a year to make sure like they make the right decision. And if he's guilty, it's going to be a long suspension. But if he's not guilty, which no one knows, obviously except the NFL, then
Right.
we'll know by the suspension if he's guilty or not guilty. I would say.
I think best case scenario, he's not guilty. He still gets suspended 4 games.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I personally think it's going to be a long suspension.
I think I would say it's a year, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be, only because of the NFL in the past. With the Ray Lewis incident, they didn't really get a deep suspension, and I know this is like a completely different thing, but like that was still something horrible that happened, and nothing really happened there. Did I say Ray Lewis or Ray Rice?
I think Ray Rice.
Okay, yeah, Ray Rice, that thing. And then even Kareem Hunt, not too bad of a thing happened. Tyreek Hill, nothing really happened. Like it's a little one.
What did
You could say Zeke Elliott. He got 6 games. I think is like second or third year.
Zeke.
what did Peterson get? Adrian Peterson.
I think he got suspended a while.
He
That
did,
one was a
right?
long while. I think it was like a
Yeah.
year and a half or something like that.
I think so.
I would
think
have
that
to
was
say,
it.
to the fullest extent, it's going to be something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it might be like, say, Zeke's type suspension or Tyreek, something like that.
I also say a year though because they suspended Kelvin really a year for gambling.
Mhm.
They're starting to put the hammer down. So
True. Um, I I also see it like now that Cleveland has him, they're going to push hard
yeah.
after making the trade to make it like a little slap in the wrist.
Yeah.
And I feel like their main thing is going to be he already sat a whole year,
Right.
and what's adding like 4 or 6 more games that can really show him like that's the only thing I'm fearful of is that it's just going to be a little slap in the wrist.
Yeah, I could see that since like he already sat out a whole year. But that was his choice though, you could say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I think I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for sure.
But
But any last words, Gio?
On that, nothing really. Hopefully they get it right. Usually they don't, so hopefully they get it right this time.
Yeah. Obviously there was a couple also NFL signings this past week. DK Metcalf got his extension with the Seahawks, and then Deebo Samuel just got his extension today after a trade request, and they had to rebuild the relationship. They finally did and gave him a 3-year extension worth up to 73.5 million. And then DK's extension is also 3 years worth up to 72.5 million. What do you guys have to say first about DK? Do you think he's going to stay in Seattle with the quarterback situation there? And then we can move on to Deebo.
For me, I think Debo's chilling in Seattle right now because as of right now, Debo is currently the face, I would say. Unless you guys got someone else in mind, but I think Debo's pretty much the
You mean
face now.
DK?
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, you good. But yeah, no,
Um,
he's the face for sure.
right now he's just currently the face of Seattle. There's no one really competing for that now that Russ left. Now that defense is just a bunch of young guys. Even KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner left, so it's really just Debo or DK.
Bro, I think personally, I don't think he's going to stay for the entire extension he got. I think he's going to be mad if they don't get a good quarterback in the near future because I don't see Drew Lock panning out very well. And I don't see Geno Smith panning out very well either. So I think they're going to have to get him a new quarterback in order to keep him happy because even if he's getting targets, it's one thing to get targets, but the quarterback has to be accurate. And I don't think that's going to happen for this year at least if they stick with Drew Lock.
What's the upcoming quarterback class like? Do we know? Roughly.
Upcoming quarterback class.
Yeah.
There's some good ones. Yeah. So I feel like that's why they're also sticking with Drew Lock. They're like, one losing year, get a good pick, quarterback.
Facts. Or even trade for someone like Sam Darnold or Baker.
Right. Because obviously, well, I think Darnold would go since the Panthers traded for Baker. Honestly, I would rather have Darnold than Drew Lock personally.
Facts.
They could get Jimmy G, but the 49ers wouldn't trade him in the same division, I don't think. So I don't know. But they're gonna have to do something to make DK happy in order to make him stay, I feel like.
I also agree. But I think that's a given at this point that they're gonna either draft, like they might even trade up to draft just one of the top quarterbacks next year.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna do whatever they can just keep him happy for now.
I agree. But as long as they don't get a quarterback, I don't see him staying for I think 5 years he has left. I don't see him staying for those 5 years. But what do you got to say, Gio?
So I agree with you guys. I don't see him staying that long either. But right now, Drew Lock, he showed some great flashes when he was in Denver. Geno Smith, you never know what he can do. Obviously, we've seen him go play great and then totally go like down, maybe not even maybe going to the XFL level, type of quarterback, right?
Right.
But never know what he can play like. You never know what Drew Lock can play like. So having one of those types of receivers, although Drew Lock did have, Jerry Judy, right, last year, right? He was the quarterback last year for
Well,
Denver.
Teddy Bridgewater was.
Teddy was?
Yeah.
When
he played, he had Cortland Sutton, I would say.
Yeah, Sutton, right, yes. He had a great, receiver anyways. So, yeah, I think, Drew Lock, he's shown some flashes, especially in Denver. He's still pretty young, though, in my opinion. So,
yeah, he is.
Never know what he can do.
I just don't see him panning out personally, but I think the Seahawks have just come to facts with that. They're going to have a losing year, so they're just going to deal with it and then move on.
Just saying right now, Dak Prescott wasn't the quarterback he was supposed to be, right? I think Dak Prescott really showed out when he got his chance, right?
Yeah.
Drew Lock can show out and, given the right circumstances, you never know what he can do.
But it's not that I don't like Drew Lock. I don't like the Seahawks offensive line. Their offensive line is awful. If they can't protect one of the best quarterbacks in Russell Wilson, how are they going to protect Drew Lock?
And that's exactly why Russ wanted out anyway. So
exactly. So I don't see, as long as Drew Lock's getting pressured, he's not going to be able to look downfield and make an accurate throw.
Right. And that's especially with Geno Smith. He's never been able to handle the pressure anyway. So
right. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I could see him getting max 6 wins, but I think the minimum they get is 4.
I would agree.
They should start Geno Smith. Look at how he panned out in New York. Both of them. The Giants and the Jets. You want a good quarterback? Start him. You'll get a good draft pick.
Right.
But yeah. Transitioning over. What do you think about Debo's new contract?
I'm happy for him, right? Especially now that he's gonna get a young quarterback, ready to prove himself. And that quarterback situation, right, is a little iffy right now. There's always a lot of drama in San Fran on the quarterback position, but not too sure. Like for him wise, it's great, right? In a position aspect of it, but I don't know what he's gonna be able to do, like success wise, right, as a team aspect. So
I think that was the smartest decision Debo
Right.
could have made,
Right.
was signing that contract.
Mhm.
And for me, that's mainly because they just lost their offensive coordinator
Right.
who made that offense for Debo Samuel.
Mhm.
And now I don't see the same production out of him to where he would have got paid the same amount.
Right.
So I think it was very smart there. And I'm just happy he didn't go to New York.
Yeah, I agree. I think Debo was smart to stay in San Fran. I'm not a big fan of Trey Lance. I don't think he's going to be that great personally. I think they're making a mistake moving on from Jimmy, but that's a whole different topic. Um, I think that Debo is used well in San Fran, and he wouldn't have been used that well anywhere else. So I think personally, for Debo, it was a great choice to stay there. And obviously, he got the money he wanted, so why not stay?
Do you see the same production out of him though this season from last?
No, because the quarterback play is going to be worse.
I
I
also
just-
think that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to agree with you. Coordinator aspect of it, he gave a lot of the production towards Debo, right? Like we've
Yeah.
seen Debo do everything on that offense.
I would also say that I don't want to see Debo running it anymore because that's going to wear down his body,
Right.
and that's going to make him get injuries. So
But that's
I'd rather have
also
him be a wide
why
receiver.
he got the money he did, was because he's so versatile, right?
Yeah, I agree. But personally, I just don't see him being that good. Well, not that. He'll be good, but he won't be as good as last year because Trey Lance doesn't have the arm strength as Jimmy G does.
Right.
I agree with that.
I just know I'm going to see Tyreek go off this year.
Oh, you already know. Y'all were hating on his noodle arm. Look at his training camp highlights.
I will say it's training camp. Let's not overhype it yet.
Hey, he's throwing that ball a whole 40 yards when I thought he could only throw 30.
Well, he said Tyreek
There's
said
no
he's the best quarterback, right? The most accurate quarterback.
Yeah,
Bro,
Tyreek's on
So-
something.
He's got to say that because there's
Yeah,
no
he had.
way.
I mean, yeah, he has to say that, but like we all know it's not true. But I will say it was uplifting to see a throw that deep by Tua that accurate. So that's hopeful for Dolphins and Dolphins fans like Nick Saya. We will wait and see what happens when the season starts and when they're actually playing first team defense. But that's definitely a hopeful sight for Dolphins fans.
Facts. We're happy with it. We don't even really want Tua doing that in the actual season either. We want Tyreek getting the ball short and letting him make a play.
Both, I would say both Waddle and him getting short because they can both run.
Yep. I
But
still want to know who run that race.
yeah, we got to see that. But yeah, I think DK did make the right move. Also, re-signing with the Seahawks, got his bag. Might as well for now because he's still going to be number one. He wouldn't have been number one wherever he was traded. I don't think, unless it was an awful team, which I don't see why he would have done that. And then Debo also made the right move. So both good contracts for both of them, and it's been a crazy wide receiver market this offseason.
Facts. I agree.
But Gio, you got a segment you want to do?
Yeah, real quick, I'm really excited right now in the sneaker world just because Li-Ning just made Jimmy Butler ones, right? It's great to see that. Luka Doncic is also coming out with his signature shoe with Jordan. Then all these great players, young players, Luka, and then a great player that deserves a shoe, and Jimmy Butler's getting his own shoe. The next player I need to get his own shoe is Jamal Murray, especially if Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, all these guys got shoes. Jamal Murray's the next, signature player I think that deserves a shoe.
Yeah. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, dude got a new hairstyle. I'm not a big fan of it. I like the afro better, but we move on. In the video game world, in the video game world, Madden 20 coming out August 20, Madden 23 coming out August 20th. Definitely a great game. Looking forward to it. And also NBA 2K23 is coming out in September 11th. Ja's night celebration is going to be added, or no, Ja's gritty celebration is going to be added, and then
Yep.
Steph's night celebration is going to be added. So
So,
going to be fun to stunt on people with those. And yeah, that's about it.
Yep. In the music world, it's been kind of lacking, I would say. The best thing I got right now is a feature by Lil Baby on Patience by Bankroll Freddie. The song's pretty good, I would say, but it's not like the best. But it's all right. So, yeah.
And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yep. Thanks for watching. You know, y'all can drop a like, y'all can drop a comment. It would be very appreciated. But most of all, Gia.
hey, make sure you guys, hit that subscribe button as well. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.